So here's the demo for the assignment 5 for databases. The first thing that we're going to show is the list of flowers. So on here we have a list of all the flowers in the flowers database that a user can choose from. And if we click on one of them, you have these show sightings buttons, and you can see the 10 most recent sightings. And later on we'll see that if you add a new sighting and it's not as recent as the 10 most recent, it will not be included, and vice versa. So the recency of the sightings is correct. So then we have these two functions, update flower info and insert new sighting. So for updating the flower info, we're going to test it first off with Ethereal's Spear. We're going to change this from Laxa and Tritolea to just test1 and test2 for species and genus respectively. So we're going to go to update flower info, Ethereal's Spear, test1 and test2. We're going to submit, press OK, and go home. And as you can see, test1 and test2 have been logged and changed. So now what we're going to do is explain the, we're going to show the new sighting insertion. We're also going to show the functioning triggers. So if we look at this sightings log table, we have a couple of logs already in there from inserts of previous sightings. So what we're going to do is we're going to insert at a specific location. We're going to go to Alaska Flat just to keep it consistent. We're going to have Ethereal Spear, and we're going to show a sighting that does not fit in to the most recent and a sighting that fits into the most recent. So first, let's look. We've got 2006, so anything earlier than 2006, 7.4 shouldn't show. So we'll go to Insert New Sighting, Alaska Flat. This is just because I know it's one of the features. We have Ethereal's Spear. We're just going to do test person just so we can show that it's different from the other one. Then we're going to do one that's in 2005. And then we're going to do another one by test person 2 that is in 2018, just to show that it works. So here we go, press OK, go home, Ethereal Spear, click on it. So you see that test person 2 now has a sighting, but the one from 2005 doesn't appear because it doesn't appear in the 10 most recent. So we know that works. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the sightings log and show that the trigger worked and logged the addition to the sightings table. So look here, we have test person and test person 2 insertions at these correct dates on Alaska Flat at Ethereal or of Ethereal Spear, and we'll check the sightings table just to prove that as well. And we'll go all the way down, and we can see that these two have been inserted into the table. So that is proof that that currently works. So what we're going to do next is check that the creation and delete functions are correct for flower. So let's go home. We're going to create a flower called, let's just call it test flower just to be safe. Flower to create is going to be called test flower, or for species, we're just going to put TF species, and this is TF genus. So submit, OK. Let's go over here, and test flower has appeared. And we click on sightings, there's nothing because we haven't had any sightings for it. So we can then go to delete flower and go to test flower, and it should be deleted. As we see, there's no test flower there. So let's go look at the database and see that it worked correctly. So let's go to flowers, go all the way down, and there's no flower there. Go to flower log, and we'll see that it inserted and deleted the test flower. So it inserted and it deleted from here. And we can see from earlier that an update was logged when I updated flower information. So let's actually test that live. So we're going to reinsert test flower, and then we're going to update test flower's species and genus. Actually, you know what? It's not necessary because we already showed it here. So if we look, we changed ethereal sphere's names, species and genus, and from its basic names to test 1 and test 2. And you can see here that ethereal sphere used to be Laxa, changed it to test 1, used to be Tritolea, changed it to test 2. And that was an update function. So you can see that update, insert, and delete all work for this flowers log. But I will add another flower just so you can see that adds it to the flowers table. So create test flower 2 species tf2 species tf2 genus. Submit. OK. Let's check that it appears. Test flower 2 species and genus appears. They should. We go here. Let's go to flowers. And all the way at the bottom, we have test flower 2. And let's check the log. And what do you know? An insertion to the flowers table has come up with test flower 2 and the correct genus and species. So that is proof of the triggers working for the logs. And we can also show that the indexing is working. I created some indices inside the database before starting this, and I can show that it uses these when it selects selects these attributes from the table, from the sightings table. So using the explain query plan, you see that it scans the table using the IDX sightings location, which is a index that I created. For this one, it should be IDX name or sightings name, and then the same for these two with the respective names. So person and cited. So from this, we can see that all of the functions are working for the base of the project, and some of the extra credit functions are working as well.